Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our May monthly SBDM webinar. So we're going to talk about a handful of topics today. Some of it's going to be overlap from our last meeting, but we're going to discuss the virtual experience member training, including other training opportunities and the free access to the KED, SBDM 101, election procedure reminders, information and registration for the new coordinator webinar, SB5 guidance and where to find it, and information regarding the 2023 Kentucky Continuous Improvement Summit and the SBDM Council Member Database. So just a reminder, we'll be hosting a virtual training through Microsoft Teams for experienced members in June. It is going to be over 2 days, the first one on June 20th, the second one on June 21st. And they will both be from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Attendance for both days is required to receive the ELA. So please go ahead and share that Google form with people who are interested in this training. And if they do register, they only have to register once to be registered for both days. So just one Google form submission. In addition to that virtual training that's going to be offered in June, KDE also offers free trainings to be used by the districts. On our website, we have 3 of the 4 trainings updated, and the final one's going to be updated very soon. You can also find training modules offered by outside organizations in the SBDM training module flyer, which is linked onto the PowerPoint. Additionally, we have attached a list of the KDE endorsed district coordinators and trainers. So I got a question about, is the password for the 2-day training available? There should not be a password. It should just be available to anyone who clicks on the link. Unless you are referring to the KET's online SBDM 101. So in partnership with KET, KDE is providing the online self-paced and facilitated SBDM 101 course free to the first 242 participants. Free registrations are on a first-come, first-served basis. Please note that once those 242 spots have been filled, the course is still available for completion at the cost of $95 per person. So you will be receiving, right after you receive this email, that's going to have the video of this webinar. There will be an immediate follow-up video that will have the instructions, and it's going to be a PDF that you'll be able to send to your council members to be able to enroll. It's going to have, screenshots of what to do, as well as that coupon code. And we do ask that you do not enroll all your council members, but that the council members enroll themselves. And I got a question regarding which of the trainings have not been updated. It's SBDM 101 that hasn't been updated yet, but it's going to be updated very soon. Before we move on from training, are there any other questions? So we talked about this a little bit last time, so I'm just briefly going to recover it. So as far as teachers and parents, teachers are elected by a majority vote. So that means everyone who is able to vote divided by 2 plus 1. Teachers and people who are eligible to vote and run are all certified staff. So this includes itinerant teachers, part-time teachers, counselors, and library media specialists. As far as parents are elected by plurality. So that just means the person with the most amount of votes. Minority representation. So minority representation on council is required when schools have at least 8% minority student population. You can use your internal data from October 1st, 2022, or you can wait until August when the KDE's SAR report is released. If any of the groups want to use any sort of electronic elections, guidance can be found on the SBDM election guidance document on the SBDM technical document webpage. As far as the additional election procedures, because each group is responsible for running their own elections, the KDE and OEA recommend councils remove election procedures for teachers and parents from the council's bylaws. Election procedures should be able to answer the following questions. So when and how candidates are nominated, who prepares the ballots, when, where, and how parents, teachers can vote, voting schedule and process, and when and where runoffs will be held. So, for example, I received a question maybe about a week or so ago, and it was about a teacher election, and there were 7 teachers that were running. And so after the election, no one got majority vote. So our guidance was that in that situation, the teachers would have to look to their own election procedures to determine how to address that situation, right? So it's really important that these procedures that are developed by these constituent groups are robust and can handle all sorts of situations. And I have been seeing lots of questions. So let me go. So one of the questions is, will the coordinators receive a certificate for those who complete the KET 101 training? So I believe the way that it's going to work is that once the person enrolls, that the person will receive their certificate from KET. So they would have to, the council member is going to have to share that certificate with the coordinator. And yes, I will share that link again for the June experience council training. I'll do that at the end because I have to go to a different screen. Next one, we have a high school with no. So one of the questions is, there's a high school with no PTO or PTA. The larger parent group is projected to graduate. Well, their students are projected to graduate, not the parents. And do you have any guidance on how to find parents to lead? So the administration can go ahead and put out an email saying that there's a SBDM parent election and that they need volunteers in order to lead that. And it should be a group of parents because it is the largest group that is created in order for that purpose. Yeah, and so as Maggie said, I believe that was in reference to the KET SBDM 101. It's likely going to be the same where you're going to have that individual who takes the SBDM course send you their certificate. Do we apply our own ELA credit if we provide SBDM training? So are you applying? One of the questions is, do we apply for our own ELA credit if we provide the SBDM training at the district? If you are training on KDE's trainings, you do not have to apply for your own. I'm going to provide that for you. Once all of the trainings have been updated, I'm going to send an email and I'm going to have all of the ELAs attached to it. Perfect. I think I've gotten caught up on all the questions. Did I miss any? Anybody have any other questions? Any idea how soon that will occur? We are still in the process of updating that SBDM 101 and getting that all finalized. Hopefully by next week. And as of right now, you'll be, so you all should still have the ELO certificates for the current training. So until July 1st, so you're from, July 1st to July 1st to June 30th, you're going to be using the 2023 ELAs. So if you're training council members right now, you should be using the ELAs with the prefix of 23. And then as of July 1st of 2023, you're going to start using the 24 ELAs. So if you need a copy of those 23 ELAs, let me know. But so right now that's what should be used. And then once we hit July 1st, we're starting that new year and those 24 ELAs would be used. So KDE has issued its guidance on Senate Bill 5, and just as a reminder, SB 5 created a new section of KRS Chapter 158 to define harmful to minors and requires local boards of education to adopt a complaint resolution policy to address parent complaints about materials that are harmful to minors. And it requires the schools to ensure that the student whose parent has filed a complaint does not have access to the material. So you can find the guidance and model policies and processes associated with Senate Bill 5 on the legislative guidance webpage. So I have each individual policy and process linked, but if you want to look at additional guidance for other bills, you can click on that legislative guidance webpage and it'll bring you there. We also remind you all to consult with your local legal counsel for additional information or legal advice regarding Senate Bill 5 and its implementation. The Kentucky Department of Education and Cognia invite you to the annual Continuous Improvement Summit on September 25th and 26th at the Central Bank Center in Lexington, Kentucky. This summit will provide an opportunity to explore a variety of topics and engage in conversations that will enrich your understanding of continuous improvement. Mike Rutherford, the 2023 Continuous Improvement Summit keynote, will engage participants with conversations on high-performance teaching and learning, leadership development, creating and leading team-based organizations, and result-based organizational improvement. During this two-day event, you will not only enhance your professional learning, but you will make new connections and build upon existing relationship with peers across Kentucky, hear up-to-date information from KDE leaders, and learn how Cognia can help you address your unique challenges on your journey of continuous improvement. This summit will also provide ELA credit to participants, and we're going to be sending out that registration soon. Uh, I see there's a question that says you had an agenda item about new trainers. Can we go back and review those times of date? And as I'm looking at it, I did not include a slide for that. So I'm just briefly going to talk about it, and I'm going to link the form into the chat. So the new SBDM coordinator trainer is going to be held virtually on May 23rd at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to All right, so the SBDM database is live. You can now enter council member information at the district, school, and individual level. Additionally, you'll find a frequently asked questions document within the database. We've created a video that's and we're still in the process of finalizing it, but it's going to show you all the steps as far as entering council member information at that district level, and we're hoping to get that out shortly. Before we leave today, I want to talk about something. So we did get clarification on the background checks that we talked about last time. So KRS 160-380 requires parent SBDM members to have the same background checks as certified or classified hired and student teachers. So the same background check that you would do for any sort of classified hire or certified hire and for student teachers. I'm going to go ahead and start entering information into the chat. So the first thing I'm going to send is that new coordinator training. So if you're interested in registering for that, please do so. We have here's the verification form for today's training, or I'm sorry, not training, webinar. And then we had a question of who reviews background checks and determines if a parent cannot serve, what legal issues keep them from serving. Hold on, it's in the statute and I don't want to misquote anything. So let me, if you guys are interested, you can stay and listen to this response. Otherwise, you are free to fill out that verification form, and I will chat with you all soon.
Mia, I think it may be something like a Class D felony and someone convicted of a child sex crime.
Yeah,
That's not the exact, but that's basically what it says. And I know for us, and different districts are going to deal with it different ways. When it comes, so I get copies of the background check, and then I take a look, and if there's anything that's flagged, I follow up with our safety department and say, hey, is this? Because I don't know specifically what a Class D felon is. I know it's a variety of things. So
right.
It may be the districts handle them at different levels, but that I go to our safety department since they know more about that kind of stuff than I do.
Yeah. I did find the exact language. So this is from KRS 160-380. And so a parent member, before their background check is complete, they can serve, but they shall be removed if there's a report of abuse, neglect, or a sex crime or criminal offense against a victim who is a minor or as a violent offender.